Okay, it's time for one of Ty's quick how-tos. And yes, I'm speaking in third person. So, one of the students had a problem with doing in Viewport 2.0, trying to get a spotlight effect in real time that might look okay and that we could actually work with. So I kind of came up with this little guy right here, which I think should be able to suffice. If I turn off everything, you can kind of see how that works. And that actually works pretty well. So, how did I get that? So I'm going to go open up a brand new document, and I'm going to first create a polygon plane. Let me just make sure. Out of the way. There we are. Polygon plane. I'm going to scale that up. And this is going to be my light catcher for the spotlight. So when the light is hitting the ground, like if I have this, then this would be it. I'm also using Viewport 2.0. Okay. Next, I need I'm going to create a spotlight. So I'm going to move this up, and I'm going to scale it from the center, not from one of these, but from the center. Make it a lot bigger, and then just rotate it. And I'm going to use the channel box to make sure I can get a nice pure rotation like that. Okay. Now, you don't really see anything, but if I press 7, now we can see it hitting hitting that plane, see? And then I would just make this plane as big as I need it to for the effect that I want, see? There we are. Zeroed out its rotation except for the fact of it pointing down. All right. Now, I'm going to go back to mode 5. We don't see the light, but what I'm going to do is I'm also going to create a polygon cone. This cone is actually going to act as my light cone that we see here. Okay. I'm going to hold down Control, left mouse click, I'm in the scale tool. Control, left mouse click, and I'm going to kind of grab from the top the y-axis. And what this allows me to do is constrain it. So I'm scaling it on the x and the z, but not on the y, which allows me to actually scale it and get it to match that cone much, much better, if you see that. Isn't that cool? Because I want it to match, and actually I want it to be a little bit bigger than that. I want it to go further. Just kind of match it. That looks pretty good. Just a little bit underneath. You'll see why in a second. So that looks pretty good. I also don't need the cap on this cone, so I'm just going to go to face mode, turn off my soft select with B, select that bottom and hit delete, and it's gone bye-bye. Now I can go back to object mode. Now if I hit 7, we see that there, and that's getting close to what I want, but it's not there yet. Okay. So let's get it there. So first, this material, I'm going to right click on this cone, and I'm going to assign a new material to it called a Lambert. attribute editor, I go to that, and I'm going to make it white. I'm going to increase its transparency. See that? So we're actually seeing through it, and you notice it softens it out a lot better, right? Nice. That's better. Now, the other thing you're going to notice is that the light itself looks very hard line. So if I select that light, the spotlight again, I want to fine tune this. The penumbra angle is the sharpness of the edge of the cone hitting a surface, or just the outer edge of the cone of light. So if I increase that or decrease it, you can see how I could soften that out. The drop off, realistically, if this were a real light, the hottest spot in it would be the center, and then it would fade as it goes out. So if I increase that, oh yeah, that's cooking. That looks much better. That looks kind of nice. Now I can also increase my intensity of that light. Yeah, baby, that looks good. Now we've got this, it's really hot at the light source. Got a nice hot spot there, it fades out. And because this isn't the smoothest cone, we have a nice sort of little fake God rays kind of coming through there. That looks pretty neat. Yeah, I like that. And then the last thing, I'm going to take both of these guys, and I'm going to hit Control G to group it. You see it says Group 1. I'm just going to call this Group 1 Spotlight Group. And what I do is if I click away, you'll notice I select either the cone or the light. But if I select either of them and press arrow up on my keyboard, it automatically goes to the group. And I'm just going to move the pivot point to up here, D, just move it up to the top. Now let go. And now watch this. So now I'm on the group. I just select any of them, up arrow, and then we have this nice effect here. And that's what we're looking for. So if I would key the group, not these guys, because then I'd have to keep them lined up. So in my timeline, I have the group selected if I press S, and then I said over here, move it over, key it, maybe right here, comes out at us, key it. And now we click away. If I really want to see what this looks like, watch this. I'm just going to go tell it not to show the lights. So the lights are still on. It's in there. It's just not showing them. And then I hit play. Nice. And now that's how we get our spotlight. Cool thing is, just so you can see, if I make a polygon cube, just going to lift that up a little bit, scale it. And tell it to show under lighting shadows. Oh, one last thing. I select that cone, and I have to tell it in my attribute under render stats, do not cast or receive shadows. Because it's still a cone even though it's transparent. And now it's going to be more accurate. So watch this. So now we click away. Oh, that's awesome. And if we don't want it, last thing, if we don't want it to be totally pitch black, I'm going to go in, create an ambient light, which is way too hot. So we're going to turn this like way down, like a point 1, oh, even low, 0.03. Maybe give it just a little bit of a, just like that. Yeah, that looks nice. So imagine you have your logo or something like that, or even better yet, there we go. We could have multiples of these. You will max out with how many you can have, but that's a nice quick way of faking the effect. You could also render this out. We could talk about that, but render that out so that it is, we tweak it out and give it a fuzz in After Effects. If we really want to soften this out, I can go to the options of the Viewport 2.0. Depth peeling. Motion blur. Anti-aliasing. Here we go. You see that cleans up some of those edges. See? And if you have a good video card, you can crank it out a little bit more. That makes it look a lot cleaner. One more thing while I'm thinking about it, and I swear that's the last thing. I select this light. We tweaked it out. Remember with the drop off and the penumbra to soften that out. And right now it's using the ray trace shadows. This, if we use I can soften the shadows a little bit. The filter, see that softens them out. Past 10, you're not really going to see a difference, but you will between 1 and 10 on the filter size. And that's just a way if you want to do it. Otherwise, just set it for the, it'll mimic ray trace shadows. It's not true ray trace, but it's trying to show that. And that's how you do it.